Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call this meeting to order. It's the regular meeting of the Board of Directors, the Golden Rain Foundation of Laguna Woods, the California Nonprofit Mutual Benefit Corporation. It is May 1st, Tuesday, 9:30, here in the boardroom. We do have a quorum, and I'm going to ask Director Phelps to please lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance. But before that, housekeeping, turn off your cell phones, please, and make sure your coffee has a lid. Okay, Diane.
Okay, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Now my phone is all fixed. I'd like to acknowledge the media. How are you? Are you having a good day? Well, that's good. When the media has a good day, we have a good day. Thank you. Item 4, approval of the agenda. Second? Discussion?
Could you repeat who made the motions?
Bert did, and Mr. Mattson seconded. However, we're going to have some discussion here by Director Phelps. I can feel it.
Yes, sorry about that. I thought that maybe because maybe we could move pickleball up so that it is heard sooner as 13A. And then I thought maybe I would also propose that we put as E the $50,000 appropriation for the energy consultant, so we can talk about that. And I would also like to pull the committee appointments off of the consent calendar because I think there are some changes that are some typos or whatever, or some things that need to be added. So I'd put that as F, 13F, if that's okay.
So 13F would be
Committee
committees,
appointments.
and
13E would be the energy consultant.
13E.
And then the only other change is that pickleball gets moved up to the front, just so they can leave their cookies, but they could all go home.
Pickleball goes up
Because
to
pickleball brought cookies today.
13A.
So I would make a motion to change the agenda. Is that what I do?
Well, we first have to vote on the, you're making an amendment.
I'm making it,
Yeah, do we accept the agenda as changed? Consensus?
And that was that for F, 13F, to move the VMS records as soon as possible from the storage room in Clubhouse 4, because if the pool leaks, those records will be lost.
14, if she's talking about.
G.
No, I'm talking
It's a new
about 13F.
thing. She's adding.
F is the committee
Oh, I'm sorry.
report.
So it would be G.
G, okay.
So you're moving G up to new business? And you guys are,
No, I'm not moving it from anywhere, I'm
Yeah.
just adding it.
Yeah, it's a new topic.
It's a new topic.
and the
Just-
topic is?
Okay, the records that are in Clubhouse 4, moving them as soon as possible.
Clubhouse 4.
For storage room.
records. Okay. We accept the agenda as amended? Well, okay, good, consensus. All right. Now, if I can adhere to the agenda after it's been changed, good luck. All right. Item 5, approval of the minutes, April 3rd, 2018, regular open session meeting. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Lynette, second. Beth, any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It passes. Item 6, report of the chair. It's going to be short and sweet again, but I do have a statement I'm going to read. I'll begin my comments with a huge thank you to all our residents, staff, and the GRF directors. Everyone has been working together to address our challenges and opportunities to improve our village. To that end, today we will be voting on a long-awaited project that has been difficult but extremely important to the health and welfare of many, many residents. In the end, I believe we've completed the process professionally and should approve our new pickleball facility later in this meeting, hopefully. Thank you. Huge, huge day. Okay, item 7, update from VMS, Director Scheinman.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
EMS is meeting every other week now, or twice a month. And maybe this month we get a third chance. I'm not sure. Try again.
There you go.
Good morning, everyone. EMS schedule of meetings is on the first and third Wednesday of the month, which means tomorrow for one. Some months we're extra fortunate or unfortunate, depending on how you look at it, in that if there's a fifth week, we have a third meeting, and that's usually a closed meeting so that we can hash over all the things we don't want anybody to know about. Just like you do. This last meeting, we had a presentation by Eileen Paulin, who is our new communications director. And this was a very, very informative meeting. She told us about what is new, what has been done, what is going to be done in the way of including our residents and all of us in all the knowledge there is to have. In other words, trying to get those people who have sat here in the past and said, I don't read the Globe, I don't watch TV6, and I never knew anything about this. Well, if they don't know now, it's no one else's fault. The breeze has been updated, modernized, made better. There is a new blaster which comes out frequently. Blast is weekly, and the breeze is monthly. These are things that tell you what's going on here. The weekly news, what went on last week, what's coming next week. The monthly news is a wider description of what else is happening. We now have kudo cards for staff. These are little complimentary things, or I guess they could be complaints, in which the residents may congratulate or mention things that employees have done that are out of the ordinary. This is a thank you to an employee, or maybe a complaint if that's what it takes. And these are available at the front desk or in most of the clubhouses. So these are things just to make our employees feel like they're appreciated and needed. There is an online suggestion box, either there or coming soon. And on the buses, there are cards or comments available so that people may complain or congratulate for good service, depending on how they interpret things. There are sign-up and comment cards available. And the other new thing that we got last week or so, and you may have read about if you read online, the tree walk guide. It was a beautiful little brochure which is available at the front desk and also in all of the clubhouses. Nice little brochure. This one was about Liso Creek Walk, where you can take a walk down there. It describes what kind of trees that are there, and it was very, very descriptive. I really suggest people get a hold of it and take the walk because you'll enjoy what we have to offer here. See if there's anything else. There is the Monday memo is incorporated into the blast. The operating rules of the village are always, what is the word, being updated. And those are going to be updated monthly. Things that you make a resolution or that one of the housing mutuals makes as a resolution are to be included in the monthly blast. There also is an employee newsletter. Some of us are on the mailing list for that, but it will undoubtedly be available online when some of these additional portals are open. And comments on transportation will be online each month. So we have What's Up. What's Up tells you every Friday what's up. Anyway, just to show you that this is Eileen Pollan is a relatively new employee, just 6 or 8 weeks. And she walked in and was in high speed from the moment she got here. She is terrific. She has a wonderful personality. Look for her. You'll see her around. She's been working the 12-hour shift with a couple of other relatively new employees. They are all, our hiring procedure is fantastic. And anybody who wants details, talk to me. The one thing that I am discontented with is the handyman program, and that is not in my control. Someday we may get it. We'll see. Anyway, nice to see all you folks. See you in 3 months. I'm still looking for people to tell me if they're interested in the handyman program. I really ask personally that people just, I haven't ever talked to a person that didn't want it, but I want to have a list of people who sincerely do want it and are willing to be in a pilot group. Thank you.
Lucy, just 1 second. I think Beth has a question.
Who does, oh,
Lucy, where do folks return if they fill out the Kudo card or the bus card, where do they return those?
wait a minute. Concierge desk out here is one good place.
Both the bus and the Kudo?
Any kind of card, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. Joan?
Would you give us your email or where we return interest in handyman?
Lucy Scheinman at AOL.com. Yeah. I know that. That's just for third. United's doing it. Yeah, I know only third people need to indicate their support. How's that?
Thank you. Bert?
Yeah, since United is doing it, do we have any idea as to the number of people have signed for United?
I don't have that information right now, and I'm sure before the meeting is over, you will hear about it.
We finalize it next week, and we've already started taking names, but I don't know how many we have yet.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you.
Okay, item 8, CEO report. Brad?
Thank you very much, Honorable President, members of the board. It's always a pleasure to be here, and it's nice particularly that the 8-year odyssey is coming hopefully to an end shortly. And I think the solution is one that works for everyone, for the community, for the pickleball player and paddle tennis players, and that perhaps the wait was actually worth it, or perhaps not. Depends if you're a pickleball, paddle tennis player. But we are at the end, and that's good. And I want to thank everyone who participated along the way, many of them for quite some time. Also on your agenda, we have the gatehouse remodels. We have a couple of those left to do. This is 10, 11, and 12, I believe. And those will be done in really short order. That's a pretty quick project. We've done a bunch of them already, so we kind of know what needs to be done. Chuck will get in there first and disconnect all of the broadband stuff, and the contractor will come in and do his thing, and then Chuck will go back in with his team and hook up a lot of the new technology and get the houses ready for the arms themselves. So, and we anticipate the arms to start later in the summer, and probably move pretty quickly. We've had an odyssey with the pools this year, particularly Pool 4. It's now reopened. If you recall, there were a number of problems there. It was just supposed to be a plaster job, but when we removed the plaster, there was structural deficiencies in the underlayment, and so they went in and did some repairs there and then got it back going, and then about the time they finished that, they discovered a slab leak going to the hot tub area, and so we had to fix that, and so we're up and running there. So 4 and 6 have been done this year, and I think they're looking at 5 as maybe the next pool that gets a little bit of attention. We are in the process of connecting EMS at the library and History Center. A lot of upgrades at the clubhouse, small things, paint and blinds and minor repairs, and a number of HVAC projects as well throughout the village, including this building and a number of clubhouses. So that's a big deal. A lot of work on the golf course right now. If you're a golfer, you see all the aerating going on, and they're dressing the greens and the tee boxes. It'd be nice to dress the fairways too, but that's a lot of money. Anyway, so that's a good thing, and I think you see a lot of small improvements at the golf course. If you're there all the time, you notice things are changing a little bit for the better, and I credit Brian and Tom for their fine work over there. We have a couple of technology demonstrations we're working on right now. One is our transportation scheduling system, and so they're still working that through to get more efficient in terms of how we pick people up and get them to their destination. And then they're also test driving the work order entry system out there in a couple of work centers. So we anticipate big changes there in terms of the way we interact with our customers, interact internally, and communicate with everyone. So that's going to be a big change. Village Games have wound down. I think that was our first 5K we had. I saw there were about 30-something runners there, and it seemed to be well received. I think security and recreation did a pretty good job on controlling traffic and those sorts of things. I mean, there's always lessons to be learned when it's the first time. But I think overall it was very successful. Well, you also might notice a lot of landscaping upgrades around at GRF facilities, gates, and some of the clubhouses, as we're taking out some older landscaping and upgrading with some more drought-tolerant materials. You'll see bits and pieces of that going on throughout the village at this time. And then I'm really pleased, and I don't know when Brian's going to open open enrollment for this, but cycle classes are going to be available at Clubhouse 5, the new fitness room. Very popular exercise program, and so I know the bikes will be here shortly. We've hired a couple of cycle instructors, and so we look forward to bringing this new and exciting exercise class to the village. And then I'd like to conclude with some of the activities that are going on here. May 5th, if you'd like to go to Cinco de Mayo, you can't. It's sold out. So 160 tickets gone, no Cinco de Mayo. But we have an alternative for you, Kentucky Derby. Which I think is one of the better events that we do. There's all kinds of foods and raffles and the hat contest for the ladies. It's really a good event at Clubhouse 5, and people should certainly look into that if they missed out on the Cinco de Mayo opportunity. And then on May 12th, of course, we have the Memorial Golf Tournament. I think we raised maybe $44,000 last year for the foundation. It was the biggest ever. Proceeds that were donated to the foundation. It was a great tournament, and we're anticipating hopefully exceeding that this year. I know sponsorships are up. I did want to call out in particular Becky Jackson from my office, who's been helping with some of the sponsorships, and obviously Eileen and Siobhan also working to make this a really, really great event. So if you haven't signed up for a foursome yet, get in there. It might be sold out too. I don't know. Is it still got some?
No,
Still
there's
have some
still room.
space. So yeah, sign up and enjoy wonderful golf at the village, but also for a good cause. So with that, I would entertain any questions the board may have.
Anybody have any questions for Brad? Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Item 9, the open forum. 3 minutes per speaker. At this time, speakers may address the Board of Directors regarding items not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of the Board of Directors of Golden Rain Foundation. There's a maximum time limit of 3 minutes per speaker, and a speaker may only address the board once during the period. The board reserves the right to limit the total amount of time allotted for the open forum. Do we have a speaker?
Can I speak first? I just got the information that was asked about. We have 57 on the waiting list for a handyman, and the program's not even going to start for probably 10 days to 2 weeks.
Thank
So
you.
there you go. That's for that's for United. Want to make that perfectly clear, for United.
Second speaker, Cheryl.
Okay, our first speaker is Chris Collins.
3306Q. Good morning, I'm Chris Collins. I'm here to present another update about the work of the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village, making a difference in the lives of our neighbors in need living here in the village. The many generous contributions to the foundation from residents and clubs helps us meet our neighbors' needs in many ways. The foundation provides temporary financial assistance that can pay for needed services when money runs short. A few examples of that support include sponsoring Meals on Wheels here in the village, providing assistance with adult daycare services for dementia victims, and helping with the high cost of hearing aids, transportation, medication, utilities, and caregiver services. In the past year, because of your generous support, the Foundation has expanded services to help residents with low vision gain access to equipment and services through the Braille Institute. Additionally, we have also been able to double the financial support for weekend and holiday Meals on Wheels for food insecure residents, as well as expand transportation options via Uber and to begin a holiday Adopt a Senior program in the village. Of particular note, the recent support of bequests has enabled the foundation to go back to its roots. The foundation was originally created in response to a natural disaster 21 years ago when extreme flooding hit this village. Most recently, the foundation has been able to establish a disaster relief fund, setting aside funds to help residents if a disaster should hit the village again. You, the residents of Laguna Woods, are the foundation of Laguna Woods Village, and you are the reason for its success. The foundation is the result of neighbors taking responsibility for neighbors when needs arise. Please know that your support enables the foundation to add real value to the quality of life we all enjoy here in Laguna Woods. Thank you so much.
Could I ask a question?
Chris?
Chris, ask
Question.
a question.
Yes.
You mentioned something about hearing aids, I do believe.
Yes.
I have probably 3 sets of hearing aids and probably 4 sets of glasses. Would those be of value to you?
I don't think so, due respect. Social services vets everybody, and they kind of plug people into
Oh, so
to those
go to
kinds of
social
things.
services, all right, fine, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, I just thought I'd ask.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, our next speaker is Maxine McIntosh.
Maxine, good morning.
Good morning.
One of my favorite people.
Good morning. Well, thank you. You're a favorite president of mine, by the way. You run a good meeting for this community.
Thank you very much.
Last meeting, I expressed alarm about the architect's report to the Clubhouse 3 renovation committee. And when the comments are made to what we say here at members' comments, we can't rebuttal. And that's the way it should be, or the meeting would go on all day, wouldn't it? So I had to wait till today to comment on something that was brought forth at that meeting, that it would take more than $10 million for starters, that did not include everything. The estimate was, I think, 10 and a quarter or 10.5 million at that point to renovate Clubhouse 3, taking away all the ability for the clubs to use the meeting rooms and turning it into a performing arts center. One person sitting at this table at that time replied to my comments by suggesting the price could be compared to the renovation of Clubhouse 2, which ran about 7.25 million and is a lot smaller. Actually, there's no comparison, as Clubhouse 2 was expanded way beyond its footprint, and as Clubhouse 2 also included building a new 2-story office out front, so it would be more convenient for the residents instead of having it still in the back. If you're going to compare Clubhouse 2 to another clubhouse, I would think a good comparison would be the future renovation of Clubhouse 5. It's just really sad that I'm now not very comfortable referring to Clubhouse 3 as a performing arts center. Last year, when the only announcement made in this meeting during the year, early in the year, that is, was that the name was being changed to attract better entertainment. There was no mention of pushing the clubs out, having no more meeting rooms for the 20 to 30 clubs that use those rooms each week. A performing arts center. We have a good one at Soka University, 10 minutes away. We have an excellent one at Chapman University, the new musical center there. I've been there twice. It is absolutely state-of-the-art in every respect. That's 25 minutes away, and it's rated in music magazines and newspapers as one of the very best up and down the entire West Coast. And of course, we have the big Performing Arts Center 25 minutes or 20 minutes away by South Coast Village. We don't need a performing arts center here, but we certainly do need a good auditorium, good seats, a good stage, good curtains. Certainly all of that needs to be renovated. I don't think it was even mentioned in the Globe that the intent at this point, the vote has not been taken, but the intent was to make the Clubhouse 3 no longer a clubhouse at all, simply a performing arts center. We do not need to shove the clubs out of those meeting rooms. We're too short of meeting rooms in the village. We lost one when Clubhouse 2 was renovated, and that's because 2 of theirs were tiny. And so they combined them to make them one. We're not a city. We don't need to spend our assessment money on a total change of Clubhouse 3 into strictly a performing arts center. And I hope we'll hear from all of you from time to time that you will debate this and let us know how each of you are feeling as this plan progresses. And not just hear the statement, oh, don't worry, we haven't voted yet. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxine.
Okay, our next speaker is Mary Stone.
Good morning, Mary.
Mary Stone, 356C. Two recent events caused massive traffic and massive parking issues: the Senior Summit and the Jewish Food Festival. And the attendance was huge, huge. And we cannot have those kinds of events here. We have no places to park. We don't have the space. So when we have these large events, a lot of the people are are very inconvenienced. And those of us who wanted to attend, there was no way we could, because there were just too many people there. It was just too many people, and you couldn't park. The complaints I heard at the Senior Summit, where people were coming from outside the community, all of them expected a bus to take them from wherever they parked to wherever they needed to go, which was Clubhouse 3. That's a serious problem. Now, either we cannot advertise outside the community, or we need to find another way to handle this kind of massive, attendance. We just can't do it. And Maxine just talked about the Performing Arts Center. That is, if you enlarge that center, where are people going to park? We have to think about parking issues around here, or transporting them from other sources. Now, people could have possibly parked at, maybe we could have arranged for the Jewish and Methodist church there. There's a parking lot there. Maybe we could have arranged for parking there and shuttling here. There are a number of places that we could probably have sought help in this kind of a program. But I think we really need to consider those things before we have these big events. And I also wanted to talk about the bus service. I have gotten more and more complaints. Every Sunday, I get complaints about the bus service. And last Sunday, somebody said, I haven't been able to buy ice cream in a long time because I can't bring it home. It takes me an hour on the bus. I take the bus there, and then I have to wait for the bus to come and get me to take it home, and my ice cream has melted. Please, let's figure something out for these people.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Michael Landry.
Laundry's good. Laundry's also good, as long as it's not dirty laundry. Mike Landry, 693B. Two kudos. Apropos of the last speaker, kudos to the bus service. My next door neighbors use the bus service. They have given up their car, and they only have a golf cart now. So when they go shopping, they use the bus service, and they're quite pleased with it. So I can understand the ice cream thing would be, but then you can always drink it on the way home. And the other thing, I want to thank you guys. Last month, my friend Jack Arnold and I requested a lane change at Gate 1 for right turn only. Thank you. It's been done. I tried it this morning. It was heaven. And then for the not kudo, this is a request. When my kids were little, I always made sure if I had something negative, I'd have something positive. So here are the positives and how we get the negative. The RV lot on Via Verde, I think we spoke about it one time, a couple of 3 months ago, about the gate. We're all getting older, had you noticed? And it gets to be a little bit of a pain to get out of the car, unlock the gate, get out of the car, lock the gate, do what you got to do in your motorhome, come back and do it all in reverse. Lock, unlock, and move and go. It hurts getting in and out of cars and motorhomes. I would respectfully request, so we can be equal to the big lot up on the hill, that we have the automatic opening gate. Whether it's a slider or an opener, doesn't matter. But that would be quite desirable. You got 2 kudos and 1 request. Not that bad. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Our next speaker is Juanita Skillman.
Juanita Skillman, 2154N. I have a couple things I'd like to talk to you about this morning, and I'll start with the kudos. First of all, for the, I can't tell you how much we appreciated the Arbor Day tree planting down by the creek, replacing the sycamore that was dead and damaged and we had to take out, even though it was old and beautiful. From safety's sake, we had to take it out. And to put a new sycamore in there was wonderful. We had a pretty good turnout. It was a very nice event, coordinated between recreation and landscape. And I hope we can make this an annual event. We have lots of trees here in the village, yes, but a lot of the trees that were planted 50 years ago were just brought from all over different places and don't really thrive in our climate and soil. So we need to start planting trees that work here in our area. And I think this was a good step in that direction. Secondly, I'd like to thank you all for fire extinguisher training at the library. We've been asking for it for years. It's a safety thing, certainly with all the paper that we have in the library, all our books and everything. A fire could be disastrous. And it's all volunteer, as you know, but the supervisors and one or two people from the shifts on Wednesday and Thursday are going to learn how to use fire extinguishers. It does take training. It's not something you can just pick up and do correctly. So I really appreciate you all setting that up. Ray, we have a box at the library where you can put your glasses, and they go to the Kiwanis, and they are given out to people that need them. So anybody who has extra glasses, please bring them in. Sorry, we don't do hearing aids. And last but not least, I have to mention to my resident, Maxine, that we are not taking out all of the meeting rooms. There will still be 2 meeting rooms. There will be a kitchen. There will be room for other types of meetings, and particularly ones which are smaller, ones that need an open forum. I mean, we're looking at the multi-purpose room that would also not only be theater. Everything's not going to be theater. We're looking at things like concerned citizens coming in with speakers and those kinds of things. It really disturbs me when I walk through the Performing Arts Center and I see 6 people in a meeting room. So to have one large meeting room, 2 really, and then be able to divide one in half and also have a catering kitchen, I think is going to take care of that. And of course, on the task force, nothing is happening immediately. There's no $10 million fee now, so.
Thank you, Juanita.
Okay, our next speaker is Dick Rader.
Good morning, Dick Rader, 270D. I think it's great that we have events that are attracting large amounts of people. I think that as we learn which events are attracting crowds, we can solve the issue perhaps of parking, that sort of thing, by having bus service coming from outside parking areas. For example, if it's at Clubhouse 1, we could have parking at 5 or 3 and have people bust in.
Thank you, Mr. Rader. Anyone else?
That concludes our speakers.
Okay, that wasn't bad. Item 10, responses to the open forum speakers. Let me see here. I wrote down, Max, we have, Beth, you want to respond to Maxine further, or?
I just want to say thank you, Juanita, for saying what I was going to say to Maxine, that, you know, we are not taking away all the meeting rooms. We will have meeting rooms. And yes, it's performing arts, but it is also the clubhouse. We are using it for clubhouse also.
Mary Stone had some, Annette and Judith, maybe?
Yeah, this is for Mary Stone, I think, Michael Landry, and Dick Rader. Basically, I kind of combined them because they all address security. For the Senior Summit, when we had the regular meeting of the Security and Community Access Committee on Thursday, April 26th at 1:30 here in this room. Chief Moy did address his lessons learned on that. And as you said, basically parking outside the village. The other thing that was recommended is maybe next sans the free food, because that brings in people that, it just brings in people. Part of that, too, is limit attendance in terms of fire marshal and the crowds. But as you said, to perhaps do the outside parking and do a shuttle service would work good. The other thing about the ice cream, that person can get an insulated bag. Those things work wonderful. As far as Michael Landry, the RV lot on Via Verde to lock and unlock the gate, I did write that down, your request, and as I said to you before, it is a lower priority right now than generators. Neither one of those are on the budget for this year, but as we go look at the budgets from now through August for 2019, that'll be a definite consideration. And then as far as trying to think of anything else, the parking, the outside bus service, and then as far as the fire extinguisher training in the library, I don't know if it repeats, but I certainly think it should be repeated for everyone in the community to know how to do a fire extinguisher. Thank you.
Judith?
Oh, I'll go ahead and address Mary. This morning, I did go to the, what was supposed to be a debriefing on the senior summit. I didn't realize it was a closed meeting. I was pretty much rudely thrown out. But they did ask me, they said I could ask a couple of questions that address them first before I left. And I mentioned that there was concern about the parking. They insisted that it's this board's fault that there was a parking problem because they asked for buses and they would bus people in from neighboring cities. So if we have a bus problem, look at this board. They also rudely said that, I said I wasn't going to do this, but I've been crying all morning, that at any one time, they thought this was the best function they've ever put on in their entire history anywhere, and that there were no problems. And if there were any problems, they were all in my head. And I was being unfactual. And I mentioned, because I had checked with Jesse last week about the fire codes for each room, and we added them up. He said at any one time, there wasn't more than 800 people in that building because everyone was either seated in the theater room and the other rooms were all empty. And I said, well, I was there at 9 o'clock and all the rooms appeared to be pretty crowded, and I didn't see any seats even left in the theater because they were all full. And he said, again, I was being unfactual. That wasn't true at all. About the bus shuttle, Becky Jackson was there from transportation, and she said the reason we didn't have a bus shuttle is because it was underutilized last year, so that didn't warrant us using the resource for our residents. They said that was the best auditorium that they've used, and they want to use it for more things more frequently, and they're going to pressure this board to allow them to bus people in from neighboring cities. Anyway, so in answer to Mary Stone, I'm glad she said what she said, because apparently this county board or whatever feels they're taking over our clubhouse, and they're not happy. We're going to go down to 600 seats if we redo the clubhouse. But anyway, I can't speak on this anymore. I'm sorry.
Well, it sounds like we have a lot of work to do. Brad?
I'll meet with you after.
Yes, I wanted to come to Judith's defense here. I think that the event is too big for our community, and it brings in too many outsiders. It was a mess over there by all accounts. And certainly, I didn't go in this year, but I drove around. It was a mess. And to me, that's a lot of disruption to the local residents over there for an event that has mostly outsiders in it, or a very large percentage. And so to me, I think the event either needs to be smaller, maybe 800 people instead of 1,200, which they did this year, or they need to find a location that better suits not only the size of event, but the composition. You know, we don't have a lot of events here that primarily cater to outside folks, and this is kind of one of them, and it's very big and disruptive, and I've taken a lot of heat myself over it. And so I had suggested to Becky, I hope she shared with them at the meeting that you tried to attend, apparently, that they consider those two options. Either it needs to be a smaller event, or you need to find a bigger place. And so I hope you're okay with that direction, because that's what I asked Becky to share with them, to look at those two options. I did also want to touch a little bit on the transit. You know, we're changing our transit system. It's difficult, and it's in response to what's going on nationally. I went on the internet this morning and looked up what's happening to, I know the answer, that's why it was easy to look up, to LA Metro. Well, LA Metro Transit has the lowest ridership in more than a decade. They've lost millions of rides. Well, maybe it's just an LA thing. LA folks are a little weird. Let's check on New York. I know we got a lot of New Yorkers here. Same thing. And New York has a very elaborate transit system that is enjoyed by millions and millions of people, but its ridership is equally down. People are choosing other modes. There's so many options available now with vehicle sharing and Uber and Lyft, and you can go on and on. There's just so many different choices to make. And so we're no different. Our ridership is plummeting as well, has been for a decade. And it's the same thing. People have other choices, and they make them based on how they view the service. So it is a difficult change we're trying to embrace here, and we don't exactly know what the end result will be, because I don't think anybody knows. Unfortunately, I was watching on TV there the autonomous bus that had its first kind of go, and it kind of ran into something its first time out. So we're not going to do the autonomous bus right now. I want to share that. It's down the road. But they're trying many, many different things, and the world is changing. And while we might not change as fast as the world, nonetheless, we're going to change a little bit as well.
Thank you.
Oh, I did want to share something on the RV lot gate. This is something that's kind of been in our view for a while. It hasn't been funded. I don't think it's horribly expensive. There's broadband. It's right at broadband. We have connectivity there. It wouldn't be a difficult thing to set up. And so we've talked about it, and it's just a matter of getting to it. And I suspect that can be done for a very reasonable amount.
Thank you. Ray?
You were talking about needing parking space. If I recall, where our people park over there by the maintenance building and so forth, if they're gone on the weekends, that's a huge parking area if we decide we need to do something like that. We don't have to build a two-story building. That will suit up if it's on a Saturday or Sunday. That space is really large. You could accommodate a lot of people. Just a thought.
Well, my only comment about the event is that it's obvious to me that we need to take a harder stance with Ms. Lisa Bartlett's people and anyone else about using our own facility than we have in the past. I was talking to other board members this morning about it. They get full of themselves and they think they're pretty important, and they kind of throw their political weight around. And frankly, I'm not going to stand for it. I'll stand up to him in a heartbeat. And I think I'm going to ask Brad and his staff to take that approach. And any member of this board that wants to be involved in that, we will do it. We will stand up for using our facilities in the appropriate way, period. Yes, Joan.
Two things. I think anytime we have a large resident event, like the Jewish Festival of Food, I know it was horribly crowded, but why didn't we have shuttle buses from clubhouses like Clubhouse 5, at least just for the residents? And they know to go to Clubhouse 5 or 3, grab a bus, don't bring your car, You know, it was really awful, as anybody around Cali Aragon at that point was concerned.
Yeah.
And the other thing about the buses, the complaints I'm getting are, we need the regular running buses. We need regular routes. We don't want to have to call all the time for everything. I think we need both. I think we need some regular routes that people can count on and just step out and get the bus because they're used to that. And it's more than used to it. They are, okay, calling at the last minute, they may or may not get a ride. And they might like to ride today. You know, I'm just saying, just keep the regular routes for us as well as the calling.
We are.
Good.
I just wanted to spell a rumor, and it's in my report. We are not doing away with the regular routes. We're just adding the plan a ride as a better, that's just a rumor. We're not going to do away with the regular route. It'll be changed a little bit as we do more and more plan a ride, but.
Diane?
I just wanted to say that the talk about the 1,200 people versus 800 people, that is about the senior summit, that the Jewish food festival, I think, got more people than they anticipated, and it was open to residents and their guests. I do not believe it was open to anybody from the outside. And I think they just were surprised at the big turnout. And now, I think it's the first time they did it, and now they know, and next time they'll work it out. And the other is, when Mike Landry talked about the lane change, it reminded me that at the last security committee meeting, we talked a little bit. There was an article or a letter to the Globe that said that guests should be the only ones that are in a guest-only lane. And Chief Moy said that is not true. Correct. Guests are only allowed in the guest-only lane, but that residents can go into either of the lanes.
Yeah, that'll change once the gates are in.
Right.
If you don't have an RFID,
You can't,
you'll be coming in the guest lane to show your ID card and have it scanned.
yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right, item 11, consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by the board by one motion in the form listed below. In the event that somebody removes one, they'll be subject to further discussion. Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar? Second? Annette? Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Okay, here we go. 12A. Entertain a motion to approve a resolution for amendments to the golf cart policies and procedures. March initial notification, 30 notification to comply, of course, with Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. Can you please read the motion, please, or the resolution?
Resolution 90-18-XX, Golf Cart Policies and Procedures. Whereas the Golden Rain Foundation of Laguna Woods Village, GRF, desires to set standardized golf cart policies and procedures related to community safety and access control, including decals, RFIDs, and fees. Whereas electric golf carts plugged into common area electricity must pay the current annual golf cart charging fee as determined by mutual policy. Whereas the golf cart decals and RFIDs remain the property of GRF. And whereas GRF has concerns about properly maintaining golf carts, unattended extension cords, and golf cart chargers that are not positioned at least 6 inches above the floor. Now, therefore, be it resolved on May 1st, 2018, that the following amendments are adopted to the Laguna Woods Village Vehicle, Traffic, and Parking Rules, Section 10, Golf Carts and Golf Cars. Golf cart registration. Residents are required to register all golf carts. Registration includes the application of a permanent 7-digit serial number on a reflective, tamper-resistant white background with black numbers. This GRF decal will be placed by staff on the front windshield, driver's side, lower corner, and shall be visible at all times. golf cart plug-in vehicles in common area. Resident golf carts that are allowed to connect to mutual common area electricity will be issued a reflective tamper-resistant mutual decal for registration purposes, yellow for United Laguna Woods Mutual and green for Third Laguna Hills Mutual. The ability to charge using common area electricity is included in the annual electric golf cart fee for carts registered to any manner that does not have a private garage or carport. In order to have access to common area electricity, golf carts will be issued a United or Third decal that staff will place on the exterior rear fender on the lower corner furthest from the driver. All golf cart charging equipment must be certified and maintained to UL standards. Golf cart charging may not be utilized within storage cabinets. The mutual decal may be revoked upon expiration, withdrawal, or termination from the program, or noncompliance with these rules. Any golf cart connected to a common area outlet without authorization will be disconnected and receive a notice of violation, and will be charged the annual charging cost as determined by 30 United Golf Cart Policy as a fee and be required to obtain a current mutual decal. In addition to the other enforcement actions allowed in these rules, non-residents and guests are prohibited from connecting to common area outlets. Unattended golf cart extension cords and battery chargers. Unattended extension cords may not be used in GRF, United, or Third for any purpose. All golf cart battery chargers must be elevated a minimum of 6 inches from the floor. Residents found with unattended extension cords and/or golf cart chargers that are not a minimum of 6 inches above the floor will be subject to fines. Fees and fines. Refer to the applicable fee schedule for GRF, United, and Third. Resolve further, residents found with unattended extension cords and/or golf cart chargers that are not a minimum of 6 inches above the floor will be subject to fines. Resolve further, if a golf cart ownership change occurs, the current owner must notify and register the change with VMS administration. Resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. This is a March notification, and so the 30-day notification has been completed. I move we accept this resolution.
Can I get a second? Annette, any discussion?
Yes.
Bert?
Yeah, on the last line on page 3 of 4, I suggest that we change golf cart charging to golf cart chargers. It is the charger that we don't want in the cabin.
Well, it's charging.
It's just an administrative.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? Diane?
I had two, again, I think they're just Scrivener's, but didn't we repeat a sentence? If you look on page 4 of 4, under unattended golf cart extension cords, you said "and battery chargers," but in fact, there's only a comma there, so that might be a change. But the very last line talks about residents found with unattended extension cords, and if you look, then the next resolve further says that exact same thing. And does it need to be in 2 different places, or can we take out the bottom one? Or which one of the 2? It just seems like a duplicate, but maybe it's not.
Joe?
I move we amend this resolution to delete the first resolve further and take out, it's a repeat of the last sentence on the unattended. So take out the first resolve further, just simply omit it.
Okay, can I get a second on the amendment?
Second.
Bert?
Who was the second?
Bert? No further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Pass. Okay. 13B.
We haven't voted on it. All in favor of the amendment?
Yeah, and did anyone have any comments?
I don't believe so.
The entire thing.
I thought Gary.
Gary, did you? I'm sorry. Gary?
I just wanted to say that the three treasurers, or three board treasurers, have gotten together, and we're trying to keep all fees the same, so it's easier for staff to handle. I'll be bringing it up, our United Finance Finance meeting, that we increase ours to match thirds, and then we'll be taking it to the board for approval.
Thank you. Very good, very good. We did. Oh, we voted on the amendment, that's right. That's right. No. Any discussion as amended? No. All, Beth?
I just want to say, and Bert Maldo will agree with me, we were talking in Third Mutual about this several years ago, and I'm just so happy to have clarity and working toward safety in the community with this. Thank you so much.
All in favor? Pass unanimous. Okay. 12B, entertain a motion to approve a resolution ratifying EV charge station fees. March initial notification, 30-day notification, again, to comply with Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. Please read it.
Resolution 1918-XX, EV charge station fees. Whereas the Golden Rain Foundation of Laguna Woods Village, GRF, desires to adopt renewable energy initiatives in the community. Whereas a dual-port EV charging station was installed at the northwest corner of the community center parking lot, adjacent to the trash enclosure, and is powered by a meter billed to the Golden Rain Foundation. And whereas the charge station is operated under contract with ChargePoint, and registration on the chargepoint.com website is required to use the charge station. Now therefore be it resolved on May 1st, 2018, that GRF adopts a fee schedule for the EV charging station located at the community center parking lot, designed to provide free charging to GRF fleet vehicles, to cover average cost of charging for Laguna Woods Village residents and VMS Inc. employees, and to set a rate comparable to fuel costs for all other users. Resolved further, the board ratifies the current fee schedule. For GRF fleet schedule vehicles, it's free. For residents, 17 cents per kilowatt hour. VMS employees, 17 cents per kilowatt hour. For the general public, 30 cents per kilowatt hour. Resolved further, the board will periodically review electricity bills and determine appropriate adjustments in the charge rates, and amounts will be published on the GRF fee schedule. And resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move we accept this resolution.
Second, Diane. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Passes. Okay, 12C. Entertain a motion to approve a resolution for electronic payment policy. March initial notification, 30-day notification to comply with Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. Please read the resolution.
Resolution 19-18-XX, electronic payment policy. Whereas Golden Rain Foundation of Laguna Woods Village, GRF, has adopted several electronic payment methods over the years. Whereas credit card payments are accepted at several point-of-sale locations, such as those used at the Village Greens, Resolution 90-11102, Broadband Services, Resolution 90-12-130, and the Performing Arts Center, 90-14-01, with the associated merchant processing fees absorbed into operations at these revenue-generating operations. And whereas GRF offers an electronic payment method for monthly assessments called Easy Pay, and 70% of Laguna Woods Village members take advantage of this free auto debit service to automatically deduct assessments from their bank account. Whereas GRF desires to increase electronic payment options for assessments and introduce options for chargeable services. And whereas GRF has initiated a service agreement with RevoPay to process electronic payments via the community's resident portal and in person at the community center, which will be activated once the technology infrastructure is in place. Now therefore be it resolved on May 1st, 2018, that GRF adopts the acceptance of electronic payments for assessments, fines, fees, and chargeable services, with the payor being charged a convenience fee equal to an amount necessary to offset all processing fees contracted with the merchant provider. Resolved further, fees will start at 2.95% per credit card transaction and $1.95 per e-check or ACH transaction, and will be updated as needed based on contractual agreements and passed on to the payor without further resolution updates. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move we accept this resolution.
Second?
Second, yeah.
Beth? Any discussion? All in favor?
Wait.
Maxine?
I'm sorry, I forgot to sign a card,
Oh.
of all things. I just hope that a lot of the people at home watching this board meeting realize that this is just improving service again for all the residents. Really nice options here. It's to make life easier for everyone. I don't see anything negative involved in this at all. I think it's wonderful the board has taken this position. Thank you.
Thank you.
Diane.
Diane?
And I just want to make it clear that it does not apply to everything. That what is currently charged is still going to remain available to pay with a credit card, like the pro shop or buying tickets, that kind of stuff. That this is specifically the assessments, fines, fees, and chargeable services.
Okay. Without further discussion, all in favor? Again, unanimous, it passes. Okay, now we'll move to 13A, which is to discuss and consider the contract award, the paddle tennis and pickleball court renovations as requested from, it was D, it is now A. It was moved up by Director Phelps. As the staff report is under 13D, it is recommended for approval by committees and staff. Any discussion on the pickleball award, the contract? Can I get a motion to approve the contract? Beth moves. Second? Discussion. All in favor? Huge, huge, huge. May this project turn out as good or better than Lawn Bowling.
No decision before it's time. That's our motto.
Thank you to all who were involved.
And thank you for the cookies.
Okay, now we'll move to item 13.
If you could exit quietly, we'd
After people
appreciate
leave.
it.
We'll just take a little break here, Maxine, while people celebrate. his name is S-H-E-T, Shetler, L-E-R. He's sitting back there with glasses on, a bald head to the left. His head is down. He's a good dude, and he's been here a long time. And he just wants to be, I think he'd be an asset to your committee. Okay, thank you. All right. Here we go. Under new business, 13B, entertain a motion to approve a resolution for records inventory and management consultant. It's 13B.
We know we need to do A, the tree removal.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's my mistake. We have to do tree removal first. Yes, the old 13A. We will now do tree removal request from the lawn bowling facility. Okay. My fault. Bruce, would you like to? Okay, read the resolution, please.
Whereas on March 26, 2018, the Lawn Bowling Club requested the removal of 4 trees located at Clubhouse 2 Lawn Bowling Facility to prevent damage to the facility and to eliminate the heavy accumulation of tree-related debris on the new bowling surface. And whereas on May 1st, 2018, the Landscape Division, after evaluating the condition of the trees and the impact on the facility, recommended to approve the request to remove 4 trees located at the Clubhouse 2 Lawn Bowling Facility. And now therefore be it resolved, May 1st, 2018, the Board of Directors approved the request for the removal of 1 Aleppo pine and 3 Canary Island pine trees adjacent to the lawn bowling facility. Resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move we approve this resolution.
Second. Diane, discussion of the board members? Annette?
While I think this may be, the most prudent thing, I was a little concerned about the slope and having somebody look at it, because when you take 4 trees of this nature, I just didn't, I was a little concerned. I didn't know if maybe it might be more prudent to take tree number 2 and tree number 4 this year and maybe wait 6 months and see how the slope was and then take the other 2 out a little bit later because they're so large. That was my only concern.
Bruce?
Honorable President, members of the board, typically when we remove trees on slopes, we don't take the root structure out. So we'll flush cut them, and to preserve that slope, let the ground cover grow of those stumps. And if you looked in your report, 8 trees have been taken out on that slope previously over the years. Same thing, they left all the root structure, let the ground cover grow over it to maintain the slope.
Excellent, excellent. Yes, Mr. Mattson.
I agree with what you just said.
Good. Okay, any other discussion? Yes, Mr. Juhan?
I have a devotion that comes to me every day. And this morning, what I was told to do is to plant a tree on your birthday.
Great. I agree. Okay, without further discussion, all in favor?
Hold on. Oh, we have a request to speak.
Oh, another one.
And Bruce has a slideshow to show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Okay.
We prepared a brief report. We received a request from Lawn Bowling during the construction to remove the 4 trees. Actually, it started with 1 and then was changed to 4. And that's an interesting slide. Doesn't look quite the way it was put together. The main thing is during construction, what we found is roots were coming under the slab into the lawn bowling facility. We also had roots in sewer line and going under the building. The tree that was impacting the sewer system and drainage facilities, we already removed that tree. The remaining trees are fairly close to the building, growing under the building and not causing damage at this time. But as those roots continue to grow in diameter, they will cause damage to the building. And we found that they were under the surface, and we know that with the amount of funding that was just put into that project, we want to preserve that. and wanted to eliminate the chance of roots getting in there, damaging it. The amount of debris on those courts is pretty significant each day, and the warranty prevents us from taking any kind of machinery, even light walk-behind machinery on that surface. So basically, it's several hours a day with a backpack blower. So we support the removal. Some of the trees aren't in the best shape, some are in decent condition, but we thought for the longevity of the facility, we'd support the removal.
Thank you.
There's the reasons listed. We can go through the slides real quick before questions.
Okay, go ahead.
This is an aerial view for those that haven't been out there. We have 4 that are immediately adjacent to that building. Those are marked with the arrows. And the one that was removed is down at the bottom. The blue X's across the top, those are trees that have been removed previously prior to my coming here. Not sure the dates on those. So you can see they've worked around. Those are about 8 trees and the remaining 4. Next. That shows a picture from Moulton. You can see those trees up at the top. Those 4 of those 5 would come out. We do have pine trees at the bottom that are well placed, and in the future we'll provide some screening. And I'm thinking we could put some accent trees on that slope to give us a little bit better view from Moulton, but not impact the facilities. And then the next are pictures of the trees, if you can go through them, Cheryl.
Something's wrong with that one.
There we go. It just shows you the base of the trees. I'm not sure why the system doesn't like this PowerPoint. Anyway, so you can see we have the trees potentially causing damage. The one causing damage we took out. 2 of the 4 trees are not in the best of health and should come out anyway. Previously, they've cleared these trees and maintained the slope. As you can see, the slope there on the right. And then we'll go back in after these trees are taken out with less shading. I think we can get that slope to look pretty good for Moulton.
Thank you, Bruce. Excellent. Mr. Mattson?
I agree with everything that was said. The only thing negative about taking the trees out is that these trees are massive. I estimated they're at least 100 feet tall. And so it's right on the west side of the lawn bowling area, and what it does is provides a wonderful windbreak for the people. So, but what was said overrides that. So.
Yeah, we can't, Bob, we put a lot of money into that facility when we can't have anything that might cause damage to it. Ray?
I can attest to the root growth, as I showed a nice picture to him. They just fixed my bathroom toilet. The roots were this long. And what happens, it comes up on the outside, not on the inside of the tube, but it comes on the outside. And if you ask the guys that got to fix it the first time, they'll run the rooter through the middle, no big thing. They won't work. But then when I explained what's going on, the guy pulled it out, and it was unbelievable. Like I said, honestly, and I got pictures of it right here. This long, just solid, nothing but roots. So that's what happens with the trees.
Judith?
In the past, when I worked on landscape, every time we removed a tree, we would plant another tree someplace else. Are you going to plant 4 trees someplace else to make up for this one? And because I am a tree hugger, and it is my birthday today, and I'd like you to plant 4 trees for me.
We will plant trees on mid-slope, I think. I think we'll put some trees that will give some color and give a nice view, but not generate the type of litter that high up in the air. These are 60 to 80 feet tall, and so the litter goes right on there. I think we can make that slope good, look good, and I think we can add some trees. We'll put your name on one.
Just to say, and for the golfers, I assume that if this gets in the way of, what is it, course 2, hole 1, that you'll coordinate that with.
Yeah.
Correct.
Normally, we'll be working outside of their area, but yeah, we'll coordinate that with Sean, the superintendent.
Thank you. Thanks, Bruce.
You're welcome.
I think there was one other comment from the.
Yeah, Maxine?
Yeah.
The excellent slideshow presentation answered both my questions. Thank you, staff.
Good. All right, without any other discussion, all in favor?
Ray has his hand up.
I've got it up.
Okay, Ray. Unanimous, thank you. Okay. That was a tree removal.
Now we're under records inventory.
He was a yes. Did you see his hand?
Okay, now,
Records.
B. Entertain a motion to approve the resolution for records inventory and management consultant.
Resolution 9018-XX, Records Inventory and Management. Whereas the Golden Rain Foundation has over 5 decades of retaining corporate records, and whereas professional services with expertise in records management have been identified as an effective strategy to ensure compliance with state law, fulfillment of goal number 7 of the Laguna Woods Village 2020 vision, and address decentralized and ineffective record keeping that predates Village Management Services, VMS. Now therefore be it resolved on May 1st, 2018, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby authorizes a supplemental appropriation of $50,000 to be funded from the contingency fund to retain a records management consultant. Resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move we accept this resolution.
Second, Diane. Any discussion? Without discussion?
We have a request to speak from
Okay.
Juanita Skillman.
Okay.
Juanita Skillman, 2154N. As most of you know, I am a certified records manager, and I have been asking for years for this because our records are not managed correctly, have not been for years. This also goes with the 13G, the records that are stored over in Clubhouse 4 in part of the old bridge room. As we saw in the renovation of the pool, there were a lot of damage and cracks, et cetera, and they share a wall with this records room. It's a disaster waiting to happen. The records management consultant will do the groundwork, will do the basic work. The in-house person has day-to-day things that they need to do, and they will work with them. But we need the consulting firm to be able to come in and basically do the groundwork of what we have, where it is, who accesses it, how much we have, whether it's paper or electronic or both. There's all these kinds of things that we need that basis information to be able to go forward with a good records management program. So I strongly endorse and hope you will vote for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mary Stone.
Mary?
Mary Stone, 356C. I just wanted to make one slight correction in your staff report, and it's the 5th paragraph, further goal 7 of the Laguna Woods Village 2020 vision is to have all relevant information at the decision point at the right time. I'm sorry, but the 2020 vision was not necessarily a goal of the village. It was something that several of us put down when we were starting to think about the transition.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? Diane?
The only thing I would say is that, based on what they find, it's possible that we'll need more funding, but this gets us going on something that we really need to do.
Okay. Without any more discussion, all in favor? Opposed? It passes. Unanimous. Juanita's happy. And Maxine. Okay, 13C, discuss and consider a contract award, renovate gatehouses 4, 10, 11, and 12.
Microphone. Resolution 90-18-XX, supplemental appropriation for the renovations at gatehouses 4, 10, 11, and 12. Whereas the GRF Board appropriated funding in the 2018 capital plan in the amount of $60,000 from the Facilities Fund to design the renovation of gatehouses 10, 11, and 12, which considered code upgrades, ADA upgrades, ergonomic improvements, improved traffic flow, gate access, and aesthetics. Whereas this capital project was intended to prepare the construction documents for the future renovation of 3 gatehouses located at gates 10, 11, and 12. Staff was subsequently directed to advertise for contractor bids to provide an all-inclusive turnkey renovation for each of the selected gatehouses, as well as one additional gatehouse located at Gate 4. And now therefore be it resolved on May 1st, 2018, the GRF Board of Directors authorizes that B. Foster Construction, Inc. be awarded a contract in the amount of $102,500, including a 10% contingency for the renovation of 4 gatehouses at gatehouses 4, 10, 11, and 12, and reconstruction of the steps at Gate 10. Resolved further on, I think it should be May 1st, 2018. The GRF Board of Directors authorizes a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $42,500 from the Facilities Fund, which is required to fully fund the expanded scope of work and additional deficiencies encountered. And resolve further that the officers and agents of the mutual are hereby authorized on behalf of the mutual to carry out this resolution effective immediately. I move we accept this resolution.
Second is Annette.
Can I make a quick comment?
Discussion?
Okay, at the very last line, I think it's, the mutual should be replaced by what, the corporation? Because we're not a mutual, right? We refer to ourselves as a corporation.
You're correct.
I think it's just.
Corporation.
Any other discussion by the board? Richard?
Yes, in looking at the other gatehouses that were improved, nothing was ever done because of the angle of the sun hitting the people and working at the ambassadors. And I was wondering if these, I haven't seen any comment about the changes, but I'm just wondering if they're going to take in some shading of.
They will. They ended up on a couple of the gatehouses putting some appropriate shading for that, but we will make sure that that happens. Yeah.
The other thing
Just directing
is,
staff.
I usually go through Gate 7, and I don't see the ambassador until I get right up to the window. And I figured, even when they put in the security, they're going to have the same problem. And I was wondering what could be done.
First thing you can do is discuss that with Annette, since that's her purview, and she will address it.
I know, but I'm wondering if this price covers the cost of that.
I'm sure it does. They've been.
Well, it hasn't happened so far.
This doesn't pertain to Gate 7. This
I know it
pertains to Gate
doesn't,
4,
but-
10, 11, and 12.
But why repeat the same mistake? That's what I'm trying to convey here.
Yeah, what he's seeing is as you're coming up to the gate, they're not in the front part, they're on the side. And until you get over to the hump, that's when they come out and say hi. So that's what his reference is.
But that's an issue.
You can't see the ambassador until, like I say, you get to this point.
But that's not an issue of
understand.
the gate, it's an issue of training. Yes, Mr. Mattson.
Right, if this is a problem, folks can always request that something be done, a design change or whatever. So it doesn't have to be in this thing. Can be independent.
Go ahead.
Why you might not be able to see them, they're able to see you, and then they come out because they've got a straight shot through that window. And in terms of that.
No, that's not the case.
Well,
I
I live between gates 9 and 10, and when I come in, I understand what you're saying, but they see me and they're there. I mean, I don't have that, I didn't see that as a problem, but I can definitely look into this and get back to you. I'll talk to Chief Moy about this.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't see them until you get to that angle. They can see him through the gate, through the thing, but then he can't see them until he gets actually almost in line with that window. That's the problem. That's what he's talking about.
Right.
They just
Okay.
put their head out and say, oh, okay.
Okay.
I go through it all the time. It's the same thing. He's absolutely right.
Well, Annette will address it.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion from the, all in favor?
We have a request to speak from Maxine McIntosh.
That's what I was asking about. I am.
I have a couple of questions that I'm sure you can answer for me. The only gate being addressed here in United is that tiny little exit gate, Gate 4, which does not control any incoming traffic, only exiting traffic. I am concerned because we have a real problem with all the heavy traffic at Gate 2 piling up, as many of you know. And Gate 3, we have a problem because we have Latira and the nursing home exiting on one side into our traffic and the mortuary on the other side, which creates challenges. Yet, everything's going with Third Mutual at this time. When I look at Gates 10 and 11, they're at the end of a dead end. They're at the end of Santa Maria. So they have a long ways to go before their traffic would back up and create some real problems like we have at 2 and 3. And when you talk about the beautiful job, what I'm looking for, of course, is the lift arms wherever possible. And you did a beautiful job at Gates 5 and 6, but of course, inside Gates 5 and 6, I don't know the actual percentage, 80 to 90% is all, again, Third Mutual. Why can't we have one of the problem gates rearrange this priority here and have one of the problem gates in United addressed at this time? I would be very...
4 is United.
Go ahead.
Beg pardon?
I said, you had two questions, right? That was the first one?
Yes, why can't we put one of the problem gates in United into this first step of the program? Because you can, with reserves, you know,
Isn't 4 United?
things can be moved around and priorities can arise differently. Thank you.
I thought, that's your first question or your second question?
I've lost track.
Well, all I was going to say, if I may, sorry, is that this is just aesthetic. This is like just taking care of the inside of the gatehouse itself. And this isn't any, it's not really the arms or any of that. That's already still going to be done. All the other gates have been addressed except these 4. All the other gatehouses in the village. That's my understanding, right,
Correct.
Jim?
This is just to prepare them for the arms.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you. I assumed guest houses meant everything. It just means the
Gatehouse.
structure there.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Judith?
Oh, Whitney, for the record, I just want it down that I will be voting against this resolution only because of who the contract is awarded to. Thank you.
Okay.
Our next request to speak is Lucy Scheinman.
I'm supporting Judith's request for why this contractor. That's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, with no further discussion. All in favor?
Do you want to look at the bids?
Opposed? Judith? It carries. Okay. Now, I think, unless my notes are wrong, we go to E, right?
Yes.
Entertain a motion to approve a resolution for funding for an energy consulting services. Madam Secretary, please read the motion.
Resolution 9018-XX, supplemental funding for energy consultant services. Whereas considerable interest in pursuing a community-wide energy strategy has been expressed by Golden Rain Foundation, Third Laguna Hills Mutual, and United Laguna Woods Mutual, and whereas a consultant will be retained to recommend projects for the entire community or the individual corporations. Now therefore be it resolved on May 1st, 2018, that the Board of Directors and this corporation hereby authorizes a supplemental appropriation not to exceed $50,000 to be funded from the contingency fund to advance future energy initiatives. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move we accept this resolution.
Second? Beth? Discussion? No one wants to discuss this?
I just had a Scrivener's that hereby, it says hereby.
Oh, thanks. Where's that?
We have a request to speak.
Okay.
Juanita Skillman.
Please, please pass this. United and Third have already, and we have appropriated the 50,000 from each of our mutuals. I know this is a GRF contract, but we are part of it, and we really want this to go through because we need to get started on this energy consultant.
Bert?
GRF has already appropriated funding for conservation, namely changing out the lighting to LEDs. But where we're lagging in GRF and where the mutuals have had a jump on us is basically in the generation of energy. And this is an area where we can really see some significant savings. So essentially, we will be in a position to talk to the consultant and request that they make recommendations on how we can cut our energy bills even more so.
My only comment is this. This committee the Energy Committee that we are participating in now only makes recommendations concerning any matter. This board has to approve any and all expenditures, any involvement in any project. This board has to discuss it and vote in favor of it. And I would just remind people that although you feel we've been lagging behind, I disagree. I disagree with you. And I think we need to consider every project and every recommendation thoroughly. Thank you. All in favor? Unanimous, including myself. Okay. Now, sure I do. I vote all the time. Now, I want to go to F, but my notes are a little lacking. What was F again?
Okay, F was basically to move to, I don't know if it would be the community. Oh, I'm sorry.
11A became F, 13F.
Jesus Christ. G is Clubhouse 4 Records.
Okay.
Right.
We're on this one, we're on the committee.
I think it just, I pulled it off of the committee.
Committee assignments?
I just pulled it off the consent calendar because I think there are some errors on it.
Okay.
So, for example, business planning.
Wait, let's read it first.
Oh, okay.
What page is it? It's 11A.
11A.
Thank you.
Committee assignments.
Okay. I'm going to read the changes, okay? This
Okay.
is Resolution 9017 XX GRF Committee Appointments. Under Community Activities, add Juanita Skillman from United. Under Maintenance and Construction, add Gary Morrison from United.
Finance.
What about
Diane
finance?
Casey.
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Under Finance, add Diane Casey as non-voting advisor. The Energy and Technology Committee is what do we call it?
Energy and Technology.
A task force?
It's a
Village, yeah,
kind of
energy.
task force. It's shared among all of us, so.
Energy and Technology.
Energy and
Community Energy and Technology Committee.
Energy and Technology Committee. And it's now formed of Jim Juhan from GRF, Bert Moldow from GRF, Juanita Skillman from United, Carl Rondazzo from United, Bill Walsh as chair from Third, Bert Baum as from Third, John Frankel from Third, and the advisor is Steve Leonard. Is that still? Okay. Under Media and Communications, add Roy Bruninghouse from Third as the alternate. And the word alternate should be added in there. Under Mobility and Vehicles, Bert Moldow is the alternate from GRF, Roy Bruninghouse from Third, been added. Under PAC Renovation Ad Hoc Committee, add Don Tibbetts from United. And under Security and Community Access, add Roy Bruninghouse. This is where Roy is the alternate here, excuse me. Under Media and Communications, Roy is not an alternate. He's now added from Third. Now back to Security and Community Access. Roy Bruninghouse is the alternate from Third.
No.
That's what I got
Okay.
from,
Yes.
from the president. And James Tung has
What
been
president?
added. Also, a
I'm the chair.
non-voting advisor, Frank Tybar, is added. And those are all of the additions and corrections now that I have.
Okay, so
I
Go
move
ahead.
that we accept this, and then someone second, and then we'll add, okay.
I can second it. Do you want me to second it?
You'll second it?
And then-
Now discuss.
Okay. So, very first, business planning. Nancy Howe is no longer on Mutual 50's board. So it's either Alamato, who is the treasurer, that's what Nancy was, or it could be Rainer Rothberg. But, without my knowledge, may I just replace the new treasurer? I mean, that's, I guess, your call, I don't know. But I'm just saying Nancy is no longer on Mutual 50's board. And then on the second page, well, I'll skip over energy for a minute, but doesn't Media and Communications, don't we need a Steve Leonard replacement from United? Do we have one? I mean, he should be at least crossed out, right? Yes. Because he's no longer on the board, on the United board.
You're right.
And I don't know if you mentioned a mobility, isn't Bert, it says he's an alternate, but he shouldn't be an alternate. Okay.
I'll get there. Never mind. Go
Is that right?
No, that's
And then I didn't know Disaster Preparedness Task Force. Are you on that?
I'm getting to that too.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people to be added, yeah.
Sorry,
Well, first of all, we don't have an alternate, so
so it's just United blank at the moment.
So Bert is not an alternate, so he's removed from that. Okay. You can sit in as what happens is we don't have alternates. Anytime you're at the meeting and one of the members are not there, you can sit in. Okay.
He's just a third member. He's not an alternate.
He's not an alternate?
Can I speak?
We have 3 people.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
since that's
You're
my
right.
committee, can I?
So
say-
cross off alternate, he's not an alternate.
You guys are
Start talking.
Okay.
confusing.
Because I have a lot of changes too. So under mobility, Bert is just the third GRF
Yes.
person.
Right, correct.
And Roy Bruninghouse is the second GRF person. And
No, Roy is
Roy
third.
Bruninghouse is going to be the alternate? Okay, I don't think he's aware of that. So then John Franco would be, third and John Franco and Roy Bruninghouse are the representatives from third.
Correct.
There is no alternate.
No alternate.
No.
And, but sometimes I know who they ask. And then we add, there's no June Greenwald anymore. Mutual 50 is represented by John Dallas, D-A-L-I-S. Gloria Moldow pulled off due to conflict of interest. And the non-voting advisor is Shelva Linsky, S-H-E-L-V-A, and then Linsky, L-I-N-Z-K-I. So that's one non-voting advisor, and there's still an opening for a second one. And then over to disaster preparedness. Okay, so that's represented by United, you have those right. It's represented by GRF, by Judith Troutman and Jim Juhan. It's represented by Third with Roy Bruninghouse and John Frankel.
You need to write that out for us, okay? because we
Okay.
can't take notes that fast.
No, I know, you can go back.
You
and
got
look
it
at them.
already,
Yeah.
okay.
And then Mutual 50, and help me with this, Joan, it's Anessa Nord's Length? How do you say her last name? It's Anessa, you know Anessa. Anyway, it's Anessa Nord something. No, we can find her.
I know.
She lives in the towers, so obviously, so we do have all those representatives for Disaster Preparedness Task Force.
Okay.
Okay. After
After the fact, we'll go to.
yes and that.
Okay,
Oh, here it is.
for security and community
Nord's
access,
list, yeah.
we formed
Thank
a
you.
CHIPS task force, and the members of that are myself, Frank Tybor, Roy Broominghouse, I know he's the third alternate now, but he wanted to be a part of it, and Joan Millman. Thank you. So I will give that amount to, I'll give it to Cheryl.
Right.
Yeah, Jeff Shetland, yeah,
Always have this stuff handy.
yes.
For CAC, I would like to add Jeff Shetler on the list for advisor. And Gail Gomez is on the list, and we would love to have her, but she has not been around for a long time.
How do you spell his
CAC.
name?
For CAC.
How do you spell the name? Jeff?
Jeff Shetler, Shetler.
So we'll leave Gail on and hope that we hear from her again, and I will ask for another advisor if we can't get a hold of her.
Diane?
And the Energy and Technology Committee, it just is odd to me that it's a committee because we don't exactly know what it is. So I was wondering if, I know Cheryl said task force, it seems like maybe it's more of a task force.
Bert?
Actually, it's a work in progress because we are even considering asking the city to join. There are many advantages to have the city involved, among them being that we can get special consideration that we can't get as we exist today. So we have asked the city. They will be participating in the meeting after the current meeting that's scheduled next week.
Perhaps the name should be Energy and Technology Community Task Force.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well,
And we could treat
I don't
it,
think we have the power to make that change without consulting Third and United.
well, but
Stare-
like the Select Audit Task Force, everybody signed or made the same proposal. So, right, if we could sort of coordinate that.
And makes it legal with our bylaws, because if it's a committee, that wouldn't follow our bylaws. But if it's a task force, we're covered.
Well, again, we need to coordinate that with the mutuals.
Okay, I could bring that up at the meeting.
Yes, because we cannot make that change today. It has to, after Bert talks to the other mutuals and gets their buy-in, then we would do that. Okay? All right, as amended.
It's just that, are we calling it a task force or a committee? Because
We're not, right now, it's a committee. We're not we do not have the power to change it at this, until we get some recommendation and input from the other two. They started it, we just joined it, and now we're gonna change the name? We can't do that. We can't do that. So, Lucy,
Hi, you have a person with a lot of experience in energy and a lot of knowledge and a lot of former working ability who is very much involved as a mechanical engineer in energy. And he's totally overlooked.
He's not
right there
overlooked.
on your board.
He's not overlooked.
Oh, he's deliberately ignored then.
That's
Richard
not,
Palmer.
that is not true. That's not true.
I'm talking about Richard
I know who you're
Palmer.
talking about.
Yes,
That's not true.
okay.
There wasn't room for all of us. I had to be taken off too, and I have a background in energy, so they had to take me off too, because
I
there was
have
just
to
too many
make
people.
tough decisions, and he's also needed where he is,
Where's that?
M&C. He's co-chair of M&C.
Really? His name
Vice
isn't even
chair.
on the, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Yes. please realize these decisions are not easy all the time. I have a lot of talent, a lot of people who want to be involved in a lot of things. I made the decision, but not without considering everything.
Lucy, at Third Mutual, I was chair of the M&C for 2 years.
I know.
Okay, but I'm not on M&C, and that's fine. Okay, because, again, there's a problem that's being dealt with. You can only essentially contribute to so many committees without being diluted.
But I appreciate your concern.
Our next speaker is Mary Stone.
Mary?
Yeah, I'm sorry, there was a lot of changes, and I missed Joanne DiLorenzo's replacement on Community Activities Committee.
There's 2 on GRF.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there a replacement, or is it just that?
Are you looking for volunteers? Not me. I just.
Diane Phelps.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Mary.
you, Mary.
Okay. Juanita?
These won't be ratified until next Tuesday when we have our meeting, but as our alternate on maintenance and construction, we are adding Carl Rendaza as our alternate.
Carl Mendoza.
RANDAZZO.
As amended? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you, Mr. Palmer.
And that's why it's not on the consent calendar.
Okay, back to, I think we're on G. The Clubhouse 4 records. We made it 13G.
Yeah, that's right.
Clubhouse 4 records.
This is something that she's adding.
Yeah.
Right.
It's in F.
Okay.
And she could make the motion.
Okay, basically, I brought this up, I guess I could
We
start
need a
with making a
motion.
motion that we consider moving immediately the physical records that are housed in the file room and the, a room in the clubhouse 4 out of there and be brought to like the community center or, somewhere else within VMS immediately. Because if there is a leak, and there have been leaks and everything else, I know we're going to hire a consultant, pay them $50,000, but this is something VMS can handle themselves beforehand. Just get those records out of there, get them safe, so when we do have the records management consultant come in, they can address it. So my motion would be,
Can we not just direct staff to do that? Do we need a motion?
I have no idea. I'm sorry about that.
I don't think we need a motion. No. I think we can direct staff to do that. Please do that. Done.
Thank you.
Okay. Committee reports. Item 14. Start out, report to Finance Committee. Director Phelps.
Okay. Let me grab my stuff. Here we go. Sorry. Okay, where is my top page? I'm not sure I have my script with me. Hold on. I had my notes. Let's see. Here we go. Got it. Okay, slide 1. Sorry about that. Through the reporting period of March 31st, 2018, total revenue for GRF was $10,522,000 compared to expenses of $10,051,000, resulting in a net profit of $501,000. Next slide. This next chart shows activity in operations separate from reserves. After backing out depreciation, which isn't funded through operations, we can see bottom line that we had an operating surplus in operations, operating surplus of $168,000 through March. Slide 3. When comparing these results to budget, GRF was worse than budget by $124,000. The most significant variances are attributable to trust facilities fees. Unfavorable variance is trust facilities fee, and this is because most of the fees that we received in the first quarter, especially in January and February, were from houses that had gone into escrow by the end of 2017, and that's when it was only $2,500, the trust facilities fee, instead of $5,000. So that explains that, and also sales have been down a bit because inventory's been down. Favorable variances, interest income, favorable variance due to higher rates of return on higher investment balances. Employee compensation, favorable variance due to lower retirement and medical expense, and professional fees, that's primarily due to timing, that favorable variance. Slide 4. On this pie chart, we show the non-assessment revenues received to date of just about $3 million by category, starting with our largest revenue-generating operation, broadband services, followed by the trust facilities fee, golf operations, and so forth. And these revenues help offset our operating costs and keep our assessments down. Slide 5. And on this pie chart, we show expenses to date of $10 million, with our largest categories being compensation, cable TV, depreciation, and insurance, professional fees, and legal fees. Slide 6. So there's a little bit of a change to slide 6, and then we have an additional slide. So first, slide 6. The reserve and contingency fund adjusted balances are shown on slide 6. Starting with the first column on the left, the funds show a combined balance of $28,058,000 as of the end of March. Included in this total is $1,562,000 of assessments, trust facilities fees, and interest received through March. The second column shows the work in progress of $4,765,000, which are amounts that have been spent to date on projects not yet complete. So the third column is the net of the two, and it represents the adjusted fund balance. In the past, this slide has also shown an unencumbered balance in which funds were reduced by outstanding appropriation. By the outstanding appropriations, those were amounts approved by the board but not yet spent. The calculation included future expenditures, but it didn't include future revenue. That made the calculation lopsided, and in my opinion, it didn't make it very meaningful. So what we've done is, on slide 7, in an effort to give you more meaningful information on GRF reserve expenditures, we've added slide 7, a summary of our detailed reserve expenditures report. So the first column, in column 1, shows we had appropriations of almost $20 million that were open as of March 31st, 2018. Included in this figure are all 2018 capital plan items and supplemental appropriations, as well as amounts approved in prior years that were carried over for completion. This figure will increase as GRF approves supplemental appropriations during the year. So, for example, we did this morning. The second column reflects expenditures and is titled ITD, which means inception to date, or what has been spent since the funding was approved. We can see that just over $6 million has been booked as of March 31st, 2018. This figure will increase during the year as expenditures are made. The net of the first two columns is $13.6 million, the remaining encumbrances. This is the amount that is approved by the board that has not yet been spent. So that's it for the slides. I hope the additional information on our reserves expenditures is helpful. But I remind you that much more detail is provided in the GRF Finance Committee meeting agenda packets, which are available online and at GRF Finance Committee meetings. The Finance Committee met in April. The topic discussed at the meeting, the topics have already been mentioned, so I won't go into those. But I will say, I want to bring everyone's attention, our next meeting, it will not be on a Wednesday due to some conflicts. It will be on Monday, June 18th at 1:30 PM. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. All right, B, a report of the Community Activities Committee. Director Parrott.
We did not have a meeting this past month, but I would like to say thank you to everyone who worked so hard on the pickleball project. Thank you.
And your next meeting is?
Oh, May 10th is our next meeting.
2 PM in the boardroom. Here.
Correct.
Thank you. Board of Maintenance Construction Committee, Director Mattson.
Okay. Our meeting was on April the 11th. We started off with the project logs, and we have 36 projects that are on our schedule right now. And at this time, the committee is able to discuss any of these, and the staff is there to answer any questions. Staff made a number of reports. One of them is an update on the Performing Arts Center renovation activity. And we spent a little bit, some time on that because of what you hear about the price on it and how we would work that in with all these other like 36, 35 projects. And so that's a continuing thing. Also, one thing that staff did want to bring to us was the HVAC and roof improvements on the Historical Society facility. That's been completed. And also a clubhouse LED lighting and flooring improvements. We had some nice presentation on what it looks like after everything's all done. Items for the future would be this Gate 11, 4, 10, 11, and 12, which we just approved. EV charging stations, which we considered here today. And contract award for interim passive park development, which will be coming up. Contract award for energy consultant, which we took care of today. And contract award for Clubhouse 1 renovation. That's something in the future. Could be a very large job. Also, the paddle tennis, everything, that was all taken care of here today, which is a lot of people really appreciate that, and it's going to be a wonderful program. Concluding our business, our next meeting is going to be June the 13th. And so that's all wait a minute. What I have here from staff is a couple of things. It's a little bit redundant, but there's at gates 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, and 14. There's work going on those gates right now with staff. They're working with a consultant and a contractor to complete the plans and specifications for the installation of new gate technology to improve security and access to the community. And we got civil engineering work going on, electrical. A number of folks are getting involved here. And currently staff is negotiating a contract change order with a consultant to provide additional electrical design to also incorporate specifications for transfer switches at the gates, which will facilitate the installation of emergency generators to energize the gates in the event of a power outage. Also, something significant going on in this building is the first floor remodel. Let's see, an architectural firm has been engaged to prepare the plans, specifications, and estimates to complete the full remodel of resident services, 2 mail and copy room, 3 manor alteration areas on the first floor of the community center. M&C staff and architects are working with general manager, a space planning firm, to prepare documents and so forth. And staff will submit them to the city for permitting, so anyway, that's going on the first floor here right now. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. Mr. Palmer, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I got a question.
No? A question?
Yeah, just a couple of questions. On item 11 in the report, I'm not clear what clubhouse is referenced. I don't know where the yoga room is. Page 3 of 4 on 14C. Where it says Ernest Munez has.
We can ask Ernesto.
Yeah. Do you know what clubhouse that was?
No, I have to ask. He said, but I don't have it down here. It's handy, so just give Ernesto a call.
Okay. And did you know the time of the M&C meeting? Is that morning or afternoon? Morning?
Pardon me?
The timing?
9:30.
June 13th?
9:30.
9:30?
Here.
Thank you.
I think I think it was all the, I thought.
All right.
Oh, that is Clubhouse, the yoga room is Clubhouse 5.
Clubhouse 5. Okay. Report of the Performing Arts Center Renovating Committee. Beth?
Once again, we have not met, and our next meeting is to be announced. And the reason for that is that we're waiting for the architects to come back with a revised look, because we said, come back and tell us where we can, what we can cut out, but still keep the essence of renovating. Thank you.
D, Report of Meeting Communications Committee, Director Millman.
We met Monday, April 16th, 2018, and Mr. Holland updated us on some very interesting things, specifically the new TiVo rollout, which we have had only 10 residents, but by now we may have another 106. If you haven't already signed up for this new over-the-counter wonderful program, please do. You'll enjoy it. Mr. Holland mentioned that our assessment revenue and the rental program offsets the cost of the operating costs that the station incurs. So it isn't all just on our shoulders. Also, he mentioned that the use of the internet is trending upward, and the contractors, and we're working with the contractors to keep up with the demand so that it doesn't get too crowded. So all the analog stations that are being deleted give us more room on the broadband, so we are okay. Regarding the Lutheran Church internet update, it was decided not to pursue it and allow them to hook onto our internet, but rather to give them some other solutions, I'll try to get it right. Yeah, there's some other solutions that are easier and cheaper for them, and we have updated them on that. The Village Breeze, want you to know that there's a new schedule for the Breeze deadlines to accommodate Third Mutual, and those of you who are writers will have already received this through the email from Ms. Paulin. Heather Rasmussen reported on the engagement of Facebook and reviewed the analytics. She stated there was a downward trend due to the problems Facebook was incurring in the media, but that recently engagement has been slowly moving back up. The Thrive Project updates. Beth, did you want to say anything, or do you want me to just continue? Oh, I get to do it, all right. Thrive has its own page on the website now, and the Thrive wall, which was mentioned last meeting, is still in discussion, and it needs further review. A later thing that's happened is possible use of canvas instead of actually painting the wall. So we're considering different aspects, and we're taking it to the staff for further discussion. We're also encouraging short 30-second slots for the clubs to advertise and be input by our village television on other channels other than Channel 6, but all the other channels that we already put ads on. A sad note that Ms. Paulin reported is that Ms. Rasmussen has resigned, but she will continue to work with VMS as an independent contractor, but we're currently looking for a full-time replacement. Another note is docent tours we're on trial for 6 weeks, holding it to one docent tour a month, and it'll take place right now, starting now.
1 week and 1 Saturday a month. We're not doing away with Thursday morning.
Oh, thank you. 1 week and 1 Saturday.
Instead of 2 every Thursday.
Okay.
1 every Thursday.
All right, 2 every,
1 every Thursday and 1 the 3rd Saturday of the month.
okay. So we aren't doing away with any, the dates. We're doing a Thursday and a Saturday, 1 per month each. Okay. Ms. Paulin reported that all written communications now, flyers, literature, website news, and brochures are going to be reviewed by the Marketing Communications Department before they are released. And part of this is to keep us uniform, to keep our look similar. And Ms. Paulin reported on some of the ideas that have been presented regarding the scoop. Our idea is to get ahead of any rumors and to report the facts out there before folks make up things. You know, vacuums always need to be filled. Well, we hope to fill the vacuum before it gets to be too big. Ms. Paulin reported that she's inserting a flyer in the financial report that will be mailed to residents to help with communicating to those who do not use the internet or email. In the flyer, there's a description of the publications and resources that are available in the community center rooms in the community center computer rooms for classes and education and so on. I hope that all of you have received that by now. I have, and the flyer's in there. A change in the broadband, Village Television, and Media 55 logos have been made to look more uniform, to represent, look more like it's a part of the village. No more a square here and a triangle there, and you'll be surprised. The leaf isn't everything, and the logos are going to be very attractive. And that's the end of my report. Our next item is going to be talking about placing digital displays at the clubhouses. So that'll be discussed at our next meeting, which is occurring on the 21st, Monday, the 21st of May at 1:30 here in the boardroom. Thank you.
Bert?
Just one question. Are those displays interactive or are they just stationary?
They're stationary as far as I know, just
You're not going to be able to
advertising.
interact with it?
No, I don't think so.
Thank you.
Hasn't been decided yet, for sure.
Okay, report of Mobility and Vehicles Committee, Director Troutman.
Okay, the Mobilities meeting met on April 4th, and we meet on the first Wednesdays of even months at 1:30 here in the boardroom. And the next meeting will be June 6th. At that meeting, we'll discuss the planner ride for the towers. So if you live in the towers, and we're going to be talking about a planner ride that's going to be tapered just for you, I suggest you try to get to the meeting. If you can't come to the meeting, Your two representatives from the towers are John Dallas and Shelva Linsky. Get your questions or concerns to them so they can bring it to the meeting because they are your voice from the towers. We're also going to talk about the charter and the new scheduling software. When we first started the Planner Ride, it took 3 to 5 minutes to set up and book a ride. Now with this new software that's been integrated and synchronized with the resident services, as soon as you give them your name and you get to talk to a live person, all your information shows up on the screen, so it makes the process go a lot faster, which will lead to better service. At the meeting, we're going to show a video of us loading a wheelchair in one of the vans. I went on one of those and took the video. It takes 5 to 6 minutes to load a wheelchair. And so often, sometimes this is what will cause a ride to be late at the next place. And so we have to be very accepting and about that situation. Same thing with the buses. We load wheelchairs on the buses, and sometimes it takes a little extra time. So try not to complain so much if your bus is a minute late. I'll be sending out copies of the charters for the last 4 years to all of the committee members so you can be familiar with them before you get to the M&V meeting. You can look at the last 4 years and see how the committees evolved from looking at how they started in 2010 and what the charter looked like then and what it looks like today. It'd be interesting information. For Planner Ride, we're still pushing this. Correct information on the back of this folder. We've tried to pull them all, but they're still out there. The correct number for Planner Ride is 949-268-2590. And I want to dispel the rumor, we are never going to go 100% Planner Ride. We're always going to keep some fixed routes. Yes, Brad would like us to go 100% Planner Ride. Bruce says it's just not ever going to be feasible, and we don't have the money for enough vans to ever go 100% Planner Ride. So we will have those fixed routes for those that like to go to the bus stop. Even though some of the instructions on the website and in this folder says call the day before, quite often you will get the same day pickup if you call. It doesn't hurt to call and ask. So we got that. And so if you happen to be in the building here and you want to schedule, they give out these nice schedules right here at the information desk, right outside this room. So you can get a schedule for the bus anytime right there. So please come to the next meeting, 1:30, June 6th, here in this room. And on once a month, they have these flyers on the bus, and I think they have them at the clubhouses. They have what they call the Easy Rider, and then Tuesdays, they enjoy shopping and dining. You have to call an RSVP, and the destinations, they drive between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. It's no charge, and on Tuesdays, they go to places like the Marketplace in Laguna Niguel, the Spectrum, and on May 8th is the next one. They're going to go to downtown Laguna, Laguna Art Museum, Heisler Park, the Whole Foods Market, the Zinc Cafe, and the Laguna Beach Trolley. So call and get your name on that. That ought to be a fun trip, and it's at no charge to residents. So take advantage of those things going on, and that's the end of my report for M&V.
Judith, I won't be there on the 6th. Someone's going to have to take my place. I'll be in Laughlin, Nevada for a memorial for police officers.
Okay, anyone want to tell me now, can they sit in? You're usually at the meetings, Joan. May 6th, M&V 1:30.
June 6th.
Or just June 6th, yeah, just let me know.
Yeah,
June.
June 6th.
Yeah, I got a ways. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, report of Security and Community Access Committee. Director Soul.
Okay, I've got a quick 10 points. The first thing I want to say is we just held our meeting. It's held the fourth Thursday of every even month. So it was held Thursday, April 26th at 1:30 here in the boardroom. And the first thing we did, we were very fortunate to appoint Frank Tybor. He's here in the audience. Would you stand for a minute, Frank, so people can get accustomed to your race? He's new to the community, 18 months, and we're very fortunate to have him. He's a systems engineer. And he did a chip ID cards for Saudi Arabia, and he was a SpaceX project manager that designed cost tracking projects for space. So we are very fortunate to have a man of his caliber and talents with us. I also wanted to mention that Chief Moy did go ahead and tell everybody you should always have your doors locked. There was one of the members wanted clarification on whether an elderly person who was alone in their manor should leave their door unlocked and what he should do in case there's an emergency. Who should the resident call first, security or 911? Chief Moy did explain to the individual that basically the security dispatch division monitors emergency calls. So if it's an emergency, he's to call 911. And if it's not an emergency, then he can call security. He also explained that you can do an emergency notification form, which is available at resident services, and you can leave an extra key with them in case there is an emergency and we have to enter your unit. However, you should always leave your door locked. RV update, basically the waiting list for RV lots A and B used to be approximately 70 people. Now, currently, there are openings, and that's important for anybody and for new people coming into the village. Of noteworthy incidents, we'd like to commend Supervisor Danny Mayer and Supervisor John Free. Free recently retired from the Orange County Sheriff's Department for their work in taking a wanted subject into custody. What happened was there was a Be on the Lookout bulletin that was distributed to all the security department officers, and patrol in the area was increased, and they basically were able to secure the individual who had an outstanding felony warrant. And this was in an area when their antennas went up. This person had been released from jail and often stays in the village, and basically thefts and carports had gone up. So kudos to them for protecting the village. Chief Moy also informed the committee that a computer has been installed in a couple of vehicles as a pilot program, and it's been working out very well. All the information is available and will make it easier for security patrol officers to be more efficient with their job. And basically, hopefully in the future, all the security vehicles will have the computers installed. That means that the security detail can fill out their reports by just parking and filling them out via the computers in their vehicles without having come back to the office. So it means they're more efficient and they have more time in the community. They have increased the issuance of notice of violations to contractors, so more contractors are parking in the streets as they're supposed to. And then also the clubhouse and gatehouse generators update. Chief Moy informed the committee that the maintenance department has added a transfer switch, which would allow a portable generator to be connected to the gatehouses. That was one of the things we wanted to make sure was in the works. Chief Moy also explained that another generator may be needed for the community center since the one only covers certain sections of the building. So that's something that will be looked at. And then far as the San Sebastian gate card reader, it's been taken out of service, and right now it's a mechanical issue. They're waiting for parts that have been ordered to come in. As soon as they come in, it will be back in service. And about Dwelling Live training, we commented that Dwelling Live should be given out, more training should be given out to the community, and we encourage them to sign up and start using the application. We're going to request that an instructional video on the website, and also perhaps classes by the PC Club, so they can kind of do a one-on-one for people that are a little computer challenged, and help them, the PC and the Mac clubs, to get more users to use the application, because it's a great application. The most important thing when people are using it is to make sure your guests know your MANIT and your unit number, because they do have to know that. The date of our next meeting is Thursday, June 28th at 1:30 here in the boardroom. Thank you.
Thank you. Report of traffic hearings. Ray.
We had a very interesting traffic hearing on the 18th. We had 24 various hearings, plus 4 additional letters that are submitted to us. They can't come, but they want to have the hearing done. It was mostly in stop signs, speed, RV, and so forth, and then not having driver's licenses and vehicle registration. Yeah, but the one thing that came up that was extremely interesting, we had 7 different people who had commercial vehicles notices of violations. And it was explained to them, well, gee, you're supposed to know what's going on when you get a letter or a pamphlet like this that's sent out at the end of the year. You have all kind of pertinent information. And every one of them said, we don't get that. What are you talking about? Somebody please explain to us. We checked on it, and believe it or not, if you're a renter or a leasee, you don't get that information. So one of our security people went in and checked on it, and Chief Moy, again, is going to be doing more good work. So what we're trying to do is to make sure that when people come in with a commercial vehicle, they understand what is a commercial vehicle and why can't they get an RFD, so to speak. Just to give you an idea, I know it's a little bit of time, but it's very interesting. Here's a commercial vehicle. A vehicle displaying any of the following attributes: of a type used or maintained for transportation for persons for hire, compensation, or profit. Examples: taxi cab, limousines, any vehicle originally designed to carry 12 or more passengers. The most important thing here is used especially, equipped, or advertised for commercial purposes. Examples: a motor truck or cargo trailer or a pickup truck with a ladder rack or utility body or stake panels or carrying visible tools or merchandise, a van with business advertising displayed or carrying visible tools, chest racks, or merchandise sedan with applied lettering advertising a business. So what we told these folks, you have to take those advertisements off your vehicles. If you have ladders and paint and such as like in the back of your vehicles, it's got to be taken out. So what we're trying to do is when people come in to get their sticker now, they will be explained to. The chief's really working hard on this, and he's going to get it settled out again. So that's really extremely important. We had, just to give you an idea, my battery just went crazy on that thing. We had, for instance, over a period of time, we had 2,838 notices of violations. We had voided or suspended, and we have the availability to avoid or suspend. There were 229, and 35 people went to traffic court. That's one of the things where if we say you're guilty, you have a choice, provided you haven't been notified 3 times, you can come to traffic school. So that's my report, and it's quite interesting where the chief is really working good with the people, and we're going to try to make sure that the information is put out properly.
Thank you. Report of Disaster Preparedness Task Force, Director Troutman.
Okay, one more thing about the bus, and it sort of segues from what Annette said for security. If there is a problem on the bus, an emergency, like if someone looks like they're having a heart attack or a stroke or collapses, the bus driver's protocol is he has to pull over. He's not allowed to call 911. He has to call with his dispatch, he calls security dispatch, and then they will call 911. And because, number one, he's not supposed to use a cell phone, and if he does, or anybody else, there's no address wherever the bus is parked, so they will never find you. So that's his protocol, and so please don't harass the drivers about pulling over and calling on the cell phone or calling 911. He has a protocol he has to follow, and that's per Chief Moore. So the disaster preparedness met on April 24th, and starting in May, will only meet on odd months, which are the last Tuesday of every month. Sometimes there's 4 Tuesdays in a month, sometimes there's 5 Tuesdays in a month. So it's the last Tuesday. We don't put it on the Monday memo because it's a small room and there just isn't enough room for a big crowd. So, but it doesn't hurt, especially for directors, to come once a year or twice a year to see what we've done. But now that we've completely updated and christened the Disaster Preparedness Task Force Manual, then we don't need to meet every month. So the next meeting will be May 29th, because it's an odd month. So if you're a retired or former nurse, doctor, EMT, or paramedic, we're maintaining a database for volunteers to help out in the care and reception centers during the major emergency. We are also looking for volunteers with backgrounds in therapy, pastoral care, or counseling. During an emergency, these centers will have a quiet room where individuals can go and get recomposed or get a tender ear. The Reverend Director Juhan here, who is my counterpart in sub for Gate 14, would be in my care and reception center, which is building 4008, and he would be my counselor for those in need of really having an emotional crisis. So if you're interested in adult CPR and AED training, that's going to be held on October 17th between 1 and 4 at Clubhouse 7. If you're a Good Neighbor building captain or want to know what that's all about, the next class is on September 17th, 1:30 to 3:30 at Clubhouse 7. If you have a grandchild or your grandchildren visit a lot, you really might want to take this infant CPR class. So summary of the summer of, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm supposed to do a summary of the senior summit. I think we did that. We'll talk about it more in closed session. That concludes my report.
Isn't there a captain's training tomorrow?
There was one yesterday. Yeah, it was, is it tomorrow? Is it coming up?
Yeah.
Okay, I looked at the schedule wrong because I thought there was something.
Tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Clubhouse 7,
Tomorrow.
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock. Tomorrow, Clubhouse 7, building captain's training?
Yes, at 12 o'clock.
Okay, so today's the first, that's why.
Yeah.
So that would be the second. That's where I messed up. Thank you.
Okay, item 15. Bert's got a question.
Judith, does disaster planning include anything to do with a nuclear event?
Yes, that's been considered. Our plan went all the way to the state. So it's been christened by Orange County as being one of the best in the state. And so maybe if you can come to one of the next, but yeah, they even looked at that. We talked about, we went and visited San Onofre, but yes, we had hired some people about a year ago that from the state that specialize in that kind of thing, and that was definitely included in their consult.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, item 15, future agenda items. All matters listed under future agenda items are resolutions on 30-day public review or items for future board meeting. No action will be taken by the board on these agenda items at this meeting. The board will take action on these items at future board meetings. A, entertain a motion to approve a design and creation of a decorative art wall at Clubhouse 4. Again, that's a future agenda items for under discussion. Okay. 16, director comments. Mr. Palmer. No. Annette.
Good meeting.
Thank you. Bert. Joan. Mr. Mattson. Jim. Judith.
Welcome, Bert, and happy Cinco de Mayo.
Diane.
I'd welcome Burke, I'd welcome Jim back always, but,
Yeah.
and also, happy birthday, I think was in order
Yeah.
for Judith.
Jim.
I felt like I was a king when I was in the hospital because I got so many good vibes for us. My bride spent 45 days coming to the hospital at 8, leaving it at 8. So I felt like I was something, and I continue doing my recovery. If I'm been told I'm supposed to be getting better at the 3-month mark, but then I see something that says it's going to take you a year to get back to where you were. But I prefer the first. Anyway, all the good, Judith and Joan and Anna sending those words. It's a really terrible time to have to be in the hospital for 45 days. And here we are. Thank you.
Thank you. Ray.
Yes, I'm going to be reporting on Laguna Canyon Coast Wilderness Park and Aliso and Wood Canyon Park. You can learn about the flora, the fauna, the geology, and the history of this 20,000-acre park. I make sure that we have at least 40 copies started at the front desk. And when those go out, we make sure to get more. But there are both of these at the desk. If you need information for a telephone number to call, you can certainly call Monday through Friday, 949-497-8324. That's 949-497-8324. This is a great opportunity to have all kind of walks on here and information that you can learn on this Laguna Canyon Foundation. Thank you.
Beth?
A couple of things. Welcome back, Jim, and welcome, Bert. And happy birthday, Judith and Jim. Jim's birthday's coming up, Jim Juhan. But happy birthday today to Judith. And thank you, colleagues on the board. This is a very professional meeting. I really appreciate it. I'm honored to be a part of this. And thank you, Tom. Good meeting.
Thank you. I just want to close with May 12th, the Memorial Golf Tournament to benefit the foundation. Sign up and play. We still have room for more players, which means more money goes to the foundation. It's a very, very fun day, so that's what she had to say. Okay? That's it. This meeting's in recess.